We want something further in. The further in we go,
To get that line
the
after?
further out we can go. Our best way of doing this is probably taking our
Left ground on the first?
but then we run out of room.
Yeah, because what the...
If we don't get the big turn. So we'd have to play conservatively and leave like 3 kilometers. But hey, I could go right here and just be so close already.
Well, you can be
Technically, hang on, hear me out. If we go up to this next parking lot and I put it right here, I can't miss by more than, what's the distance?
Are we sure that it's from the right?
They said it's from the point.
It's from the point that they calculate, right?
9603.
9640.
But you also have to climb up to 900 feet still. So maybe steering in is better.
Honestly, here we find, and the goals we have here, they're fine. It's like heavy ball, it's not work on you, and you can focus straight on your JDG after. So...
okay, that would be the difference, right?
Yeah, but am I right, or are you right? I'm going much more on the right line too.
Yeah, I hooked it pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, it's perfect.
Okay,
Hey, you got a grip then. Okay?
we'll stick to it this time. My name is Cameron Wall, and I'm competing for the U.S. National Hot Air Balloon Championship this week. We are in Longview, Texas. This is where the Nationals have been held the last 3 years. Last year, I was 6th place. My parents are not balloonists, unlike a lot of people my age that get into this sport young. I was 13 when I started training, but they've always been super supportive. My mom is here cooking, so I don't have to go out every night. She's a pretty integral part of the team, and it makes just living on the road and being at events like this way easier when she's with us cooking. The other reason she's here is to do wind readings, which is what she did in Hungary, and she really kind of developed a knack for it. So she'll be at the targets, especially the first target of the morning, giving us a wind reading of what the ground wind is doing.
Okay. You gotta really multitask, you know? It's like taking readings, gotta get the pictures.
Taking a wind reading out in the field where you can't even see the target, because some days you've got power lines and you've got trees and you're wedged into this little triangle and you're just looking up at a pie ball trying to get a wind reading and then racing back to get the troops fed.
So this year, We have my mom on the road for all of the events, which is really nice.
It is long. We've been on the road now, what, 3 weeks?
With my crew, this year, I have more people than I've ever had before. Recently, I've felt like I've just been lacking manpower and like I've been taking on too many roles.
What'd you get for getting tours at Harbor Freight in America?
Whether that's charging radios the night before, whether that's thinking through the flight, driving to the field. I've just been managing everything. So I feel really confident in the team this year.
It really is a team sport. Balloonists and pilots will say, I can't do it without the crew.
I have Austin Burrows driving, who's been a commercial crew chief for many years out in California. So I feel very confident in that aspect. We have a really big truck. He's used to driving really big vehicles, so it feels good to have someone that I can really trust driving. And he's also familiar with competition, so it's a nice feeling.
This is my 5th time being here in Longview, and I feel like I have a full grasp of this event. The weather conditions are very hard. This is probably one of the hardest places to fly, given the weather conditions and just where you're at in the country. It's very hot, lots of steerage, but then again, you can't really rely on the lower left-hand winds as they usually deteriorate, and you're usually on a right-hand direction. A lot of trees, but usually the event directors put you in a great position to help you succeed. I hope I can one day, maybe next year, hopefully be able to fly this event and try to win a national championship.
Right next to him, we'll have Jeff Rigolet from France, who owns Vegas Balloon Rides. So another commercial pilot, which always makes me feel good from a weather side. He really understands weather for hot air ballooning specifically, the wind layers, turning. He also has a lot of experience in competitive ballooning. From a younger age, he was competing a lot in Europe.
Alors Jeff, longue histoire. En fait qu'avec Jeff, on est originaire de la même ville. Nos parents faisaient déjà du ballon ensemble dans la même ville. On a fait quelques soirées ensemble avant de se mettre au ballon d'ailleurs. Et puis moi, quand je me suis lancé au championnat, je prends la décision, on est en 2008. Et en fait, je me tourne naturellement vers Jeff parce qu'il était équipier de François Bessine. Et ils ont été champions du monde cette année-là. Donc d'instinct, je me tourne vers toi. Et je me souviens encore de ce moment, on est dans un bar pas loin de chez toi. Et tu m'apprenais un règlement, parce que moi c'est le truc que je sais, putain, c'est quoi ce règlement et tout. Et tu étais là, tu m'as un peu expliqué ça. Donc on a eu, voilà, moi t'as été le premier à m'accompagner, t'es littéralement le premier à m'accompagner dans mon entrée en compétition. Et ce qui est quand même dingue, c'est que tu reviens, on se recroise au championnat du monde l'année dernière et je suis champion et t'es là pour me voir, donc c'est quand même ouais, magnifique. Magnifique.
Next, we have Jet. Jet is a commercial pilot. Really, it's nice to just have people that know what they're doing, know their roles, especially getting off the ground at an event like this. You just want everything to be well oiled. My goal is to have the balloon from the time we park the truck to the time it's in the air, 7 minutes or less. So to have 3 more sets of hands other than me that know what they're doing is a huge advantage, where it feels like you just don't have to communicate what you need. Everyone knows how to set up the balloon and get you off, make sure you're not missing anything.
Cameron has always had a knack from the time, honestly, he was really young in choosing good people to have in his life. So being able to sit down for him and choose people who do shine, he's not afraid to have people outshine him in certain areas. People maybe who really understand weather, people who are good at the mathematical equations and strategy. That's Amanda.
My name is Amanda Brodbeck. I am currently a commercial balloon pilot. This is my job, my hobby, thing I do for fun. Yeah, so Cameron is my partner in every sense of the word. We travel the world together, we fly balloons together, we live our lives together, and it's an amazing situation. We get to go very soon to fly in Tanzania for a year. We'll live in a tent in the Serengeti. We have just gotten back from Morocco, so we get to live this life that seems like a fantasy and a dream. She
was my navigator for the World Championships. She's also a 2-time in a row women's national champion here in the United States. And really her biggest strength coming into our team is weather knowledge and technical knowledge.
You know, Cameron really relies on Amanda to help him with doing those mathematical calculations. He doesn't want to do it. He knows he's not great at it. He knows that's her strength. So they're a great, team for that reason.
But the bigger one to me is more of just figuring out where to put a PDG. I struggled with that at Worlds last year, Nationals, and even this year, they just haven't been great selections. The direction has gotten a lot better, where I'm at least going the right way, but the altitude has been harder, and trying to find the right distance is just where I'm struggling right now. So that will be a big point of focus this week. Originally, I wasn't really sure if I wanted to even fly balloons for a living. I knew from a young age that I loved balloons, and then I had definitely a passion for competition ballooning, and I was always fascinated with that growing up.
I guarantee you, even people who go to Fiesta every year, their entire lives, they may not even know that competition happens in the mornings outside of the big launches that are happening. It is such a niche.
A lot of people tried to persuade me away from doing ballooning as a living. Rides, corporate work, repair, anything like that. So I wasn't really sure if I wanted to do that, but what really solidified my drive to become a commercial pilot was I realized that I was pretty good at competing at a local level, but I was going to get my ass handed to me at a national level just because I was never going to be in the air as much as these guys that had been doing competition ballooning or that had been flying for 50 years.
You can't be in ballooning and not respect what they're doing.
People like the Heartsills, the Donners,
the
Petrehns,
Petrehns,
those big names in ballooning.
Papa Joe Heartsill.
It's exciting. I mean, I didn't know about the culture of it until Cameron started competing, and then I'd go out there and watch those competitions. I think once you get into it and you start meeting the people and you find out who's competing and the rivalries and the personalities, it becomes even more exciting.
The real way that I can start to be better is if I'm flying every single day and I just practice more than them and I'm in the air more than them and I get more flight time than them. So the last couple months I've been flying every single day, sometimes 2 flights in the morning in Africa, whether it was Tanzania or Morocco. Is it competition ballooning every day? No, but just getting more comfortable in the air every single day, feeling the winds every day, and flying and giving yourself targets every day is going to make you a better pilot. Once I arrived back from Morocco just about a month ago, kind of decided to have a schedule of 2 to 3 different events before the Nationals to just rework the competitive skills, the competition skills, and the mindset, just getting more reps in. So kind of repetition of just waking up, going to briefing, and flying. I made this decision to have the first competition of the season be back in my hometown in Albuquerque, or the Rio Rancho area, which is really where we were flying, that was the Top Gun Championships, which also happened to be the New Mexico State Championships. By the end of the event, we were 5th overall and 1st for the New Mexico State Championships. So it was cool to go back to my hometown and win a state championship, and it was the first time I had competed in that event. So really fun, great time, nice to see friends and family again before heading out for the rest of the events. A couple days after that, we went to Cameron, Missouri, where Amanda was going to be competing and I was going to be her navigator.
Does that sound fair to everybody? All right, guys and gals, have a great flight. And I want to thank everybody who flew, and I want to thank everybody who chose not to fly this morning. It's never the wrong decision. sir. Matthew Jones. Here. Alan Anderson. Here. Amanda Seigeot. Here. Daniel Strutz.
Here.
Kenny J.
Weather, current conditions here at the airport's winds at 330 at 6 knots, visibility is 10 miles, clear skies, temperature is 61, dew point's 54, the altimeter is 29.85 and is beginning to rise.
The task or the target is set at 9339.0070. Task 4 is a judge declared goal, 9346, 9790. We'll measure 75 meters at this target. It's also a gravity marker drop. It is a blue marker. Just remember, gravity drops on all three. Hand has to be inside the basket, right? Let her drop, okay? Anything else, guys? Please fly safely, okay, and have a great flight.
What about these?
That's the same. I think this guy. Because
I definitely made some pretty costly mistakes in Cameron with the 2 flights that we had. So it was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event. We flew Friday and Sunday. Again, we did end up in the top 10, but we started in 6th, and instead of working our way up, we worked ourselves into 8th. So after Cameron, Missouri, came straight down here on Sunday right after the event ended, in hopes of, you know, preparing, getting some flights in, seeing the area, adjusting the temperature. It's really hot and humid down here, so just letting the body adjust is a big deal. If you come straight from dry climate or cold climate to here, you're really gonna have a tough time. So it's been nice to just sit outside and adjust. But on the other hand, the weather has been absolutely terrible. There are a lot of things that we can work on. It's been a really big focus of mine this year to just relax.
What a shot! What a shot!
I think we have to, it gives us a chance to sort of reflect and look in and see not only what kind of competitors we are, but what kind of people we are. This is a team sport. You cannot fly well if you don't have the right team, and if your team is frazzled because you've barked at them while you're inflating, or you made them feel like they're not really an important part of your team. I think it reflects negatively, and I've definitely seen some pilots who are amazing pilots that don't have that crew dynamic down, and it slows them down. And I see people who I never thought were as talented, but they work well with their people, they utilize their resources well, and I see them climbing a lot quicker than the ladder.
In previous years, I've been taking things really serious, almost to the point of just not having fun. And events do cost a lot, and you're bringing people in, using resources. So at the end of the day, I decided, well, if I'm not having fun doing this, then there's really no point.
It's hard to go and do poorly on any given week when you've got people that are supporting you that are so incredible. You want to show up and do your best so that you can make them feel proud that they came to be on your team.
I'm Kenna Walter. I'm 37 years old. I grew up in Indianola, Iowa, which is one of the ballooning capitals of the Midwest. So when I started flying, I was mostly doing competition because I learned to fly essentially in Indianola and at the Balloon Classic. And so I've been mostly interested in ballooning at competition since I started. I met Amanda at US Women's the second year I went. Obviously very fun spirit. She also was flying in Seattle, Washington at the time for Seattle Ballooning. And so we decided to team up a couple years in a row at US Women's. And so that's how we met her and started flying with her. And then this year she needed some crew, and I'd been to US Nationals in the past crewing for other balloon crews, but decided this year was the year to try and further the sport for women and help Amanda out this week and just have a great time. Because of my past in crewing with my roller derby team, we have good team dynamics, and we're pretty competitive but also fun, and we know how to turn those things on and off.
She actually reached out to me and she said, I want to be on your team. I tried to convince her to compete as well.
One thing I've learned in the last 2 to 3 years of competitive ballooning is that we are competitive athletes and we need to treat our bodies as such. And so good sleep, good eating, nutrition, good sleep schedules, everything you can do to manage your physical needs, mental needs, emotional needs is going to make you better in competition. So sleep is absolutely one of the most important things you can do to be at the top of your game.
And then she brought along one of her crew people, Bruiser or Becky, also phenomenal. I can't believe how lucky I am to have both of these women on my team. They're incredibly intelligent, they're vivacious, they're funny. Oh my gosh, my cheeks still from this week. We have a lot of fun. We're making a lot of jokes.
My name is Becky Lewis. I'm 45. I got into ballooning through knowing Canna. We were friends and teammates and competitors in roller derby. And when she decided to pick back up ballooning and was looking for crew, it kind of was a natural fit. And then when she said that she had an opportunity to compete, we all said, yes, we're in. What the hell do we do competing in hot air ballooning? We had no idea, but we were all 100% in. We were going to travel, we were going to go anywhere and make it happen. So that was my introduction to the ballooning community, and that was 4 years ago.
It's also helping me as a pilot because I get to learn from other pilots, learn and see how they're strategizing, using competition software, thinking about tasks, and so it's very mutually beneficial.
And then we got to bring in Emma. So Emma originally came to be on Cameron's crew and I stole her. So she has an incredible depth of experience in ballooning as crew.
Yeah, fucking mocks my accent, doesn't he? But do I get the job done? Of course I get the fucking job done.
No desire to be a pilot herself, but a huge asset to have on your team.
She's got a lot of experience out there with worldwide competitors. So I think it is important to get a mix, not just of people who are competing domestically. If you want to compete on the world stage, bring people from the world stage who have been there here to where you're competing.
So I had this team of incredible women this week to be my supporters.
It's been a big focus to, at the same time, be focused on the event, just enjoy it a little bit. So that's why we have the pool and just trying to enjoy.
So,
during the World Championships in Szeged, Hungary, which would have been last September 2024, I didn't start off terribly well, didn't start off terribly bad, and that was about the story for the whole event. Just wasn't really stringing anything together until the last couple flights
will immediately get me to right here. I make worlds. That is really important.
But we're here for the big picture. And when I say the big picture, I don't mean just this nationals in 2025. I mean, we're looking into the future at Worlds. Hopefully we've done well enough between last year and this year that we're going to go to Worlds.
Last year I was 6th. My goal here is always to be able to qualify for the next World Championships.
To make the qualification for Worlds.
I'd like to go compete in a World Championship. I mean, everyone's sort of gunning for that World spot, so you want to be top 5 or better for sure.
Well, I'm hoping to be better than 5th, but there's still a pretty good chance that I've already qualified in 6th place.
Cam Wall, the legend.
Rhett.
So, in a weird way, I feel like the pressure is off of me.
1A, 2B, 3C, 4D, or 5E are any of the people that are.
Bingo!
I feel very comfortable where I am now, and I only have improvement to make on last year's results.
That was who? Ah. Jonathan Wright. Jonathan Wright.
All right, are we rolling? All right, my name's Jonathan Wright. I'm 42. I started flying hot air balloons in 2005. I started crewing on hot air balloons when I was 7. Yeah, Worlds 2016 and 2018 in Saga and in Austria. This is now, so I've come out here and I've flown Great Texas Balloon Race, whether it's been national championships or just the GTBR event every year since my first year since 2014. So this puts us in my 11th, 12th year now. So I'm getting to the point where I'm feeling relatively comfortable with the flying here in Longview, which can be extremely challenging from a weather standpoint, from a geographic standpoint. There's no shortage of trees and tricky areas.
It's been the same kind of pilots the last 2 weekends. From New Mexico, we had Jonathan Wright competing there.
I haven't been able to get out to a lot of competitions. So Rio Grande Classic, Memorial Weekend, so 2 weekends ago. That was my first target flying and first time flying the racer this year. A lot more seat time in the racer doing the Helen of the Atlantic race last weekend, where I finished 3rd place with a beautiful German beer stein from Alpine, Helen, Georgia. That's such a cool race, and for anybody that doesn't know anything about that race, it's completely unique. Everybody either knows or through watching this is going to learn a lot about competition balloon flying and how we compete and what all of that entails. And the Helen of the Atlantic race is completely unlike that. It's a long distance race that starts out in a little town of Helen, Georgia, in the Appalachian Mountains, north of Atlanta. And the finish line is I-95, the entire Atlantic coast, flying all the way out to the coast. So anywhere along I-95, all the way from Maine to Miami is valid. It's 2 days of flying, Thursday and Friday, from 7 a.m. till sunset on Friday. Daylight flying only, and you can do multiple takeoffs and landings. You have to document the landing, then retake off from the same location. And it's just a segmented race over 2 days. Whoever can get to the coast first, or at sunset on Friday, whoever's closest to the coast. Honestly, one of the coolest trophies around. So yeah, 3rd place on that, but a lot of seat time in the racer and plenty of time to get systems and equipment dialed in while I was sitting in my hammock at 5,000 feet. I should probably contact Guinness Records on that, because I don't know that anybody else has ever sat in a hammock 5,000 feet in the air before. that might be a record.
Do you need to say anything?
The crew's my family. It's all family. So my brother is my navigator. He's in basket with me, and he and I have been flying two-man team since our very first competition. We've always flown two-man team, which is becoming more and more popular. And then on the ground, we've got my sister-in-law who runs wind team lead. So she's in lead vehicle, giving us target wins on the ground. And then for setup and retrieve, I've got my mom and two of my three nephews. So it's all the family.
So we also have Clement competing with us.
I'm Clem. I'm from France, Belfort. I'm 35 years old. I'm a balloon pilot. I ended up flying balloons because my dad is a balloon pilot, so that was very easy.
He is the reigning world champion. He won that last September in Szeged, Hungary.
Ah oui, bah il y a 6 mois, bah oui, depuis que j'ai commencé, il y a 6 mois, champion du monde. Forcément, très belle semaine, je m'y attendais pas forcément. Mais on a super bien bossé et tout s'est bien aligné.
Throughout the week, he was just better than everyone on every single target.
Pas fait beaucoup d'erreurs, voire zéro.
He flew the event so well that he probably didn't even have to fly the last flight to maintain first place.
Ça marque et puis bah là, on se reprépare pour la suite. C'est pour ça que je suis ici.
So it'll be really, really nice to see how we as Americans stack up to him this year, especially going into next year's World Championships.
En fait, quand j'ai commencé la compétition, la première personne qui s'est un peu affichée sur les réseaux, qui filmait ses vols, c'était Nick Donner, qui a été champion du monde. Et forcément, moi, alors on est en 2012, il a commencé à mettre ses vidéos un petit peu avant, je crois, en 2010 en Hongrie. Et moi, je commençais quoi. Donc pour moi, j'avais jamais vu l'international. Donc pour moi, c'est forcément mon héros.
Nick Donner, I believe he's won over 5 national champions. He's won a world championship in my hometown of Battle Creek. Very talented pilot. I remember following him, chasing him when I was a kid.
J'étais juste trop pressé qu'il remette une vidéo. Il cartonnait sur les cibles avec des épreuves. Les Américains, enfin tout ça, en tout cas ici aux States, il y a la réputation. Ils ont l'amour de l'épreuve physique, ils ont l'amour du lancer de marqueur. Les épreuves sont créées pour faire du beau lancer de marqueur, voilà, avec des aires de marquage, avec 2 épreuves imbriquées, à acheter 2-3 marqueurs sur le même terrain. Et ça m'a toujours fasciné. Donc il y a déjà la fascination de ça.
He's at such a high caliber of flying, and his piloting is just so top notch. You know, it's obviously really nice for him to come out here and see what we're doing, fly our style of tasks, which is very different from what the Europeans are calling.
Actually, I like what you're saying about the end of the parking here.
However, a 270 here, right? Starting pre-briefing, we discussed launching on a 230 line.
When we were in briefing room, Bob even suggested, he said, well, there's a Kohl's right up there, and we could just go to a Kohl's parking lot and put up a pie ball.
Once we got out to our launch site, which was on about a 215 based on the winds, we put up a pie ball and shifted to a 250. So we went to a new location, anticipating a shift, because we'd already seen the shift once we got to that new location from a 250 to a 260. So we were kind of set up at a 270. The launch window was opened at 6:30.
Pour la première fois dans l'histoire de l'humanité, tous les peuples, pour la première fois dans l'histoire de l'humanité, tous les peuples de la Terre ne forment qu'un.
We had a good line on the target, but not much steerage. So I had to go a little bit higher than anticipated for that first target.
So the first task was two tasks at the same location. So we had one standard baggie drop, get your baggie as close to the center of X as possible. The other one is a maximum distance, so you're trying to get furthest from that X within a triangle.
Once I was descending down, I was just descending too late and dropped my baggies too late. We'll see if I get a score on the X, but definitely outside the triangle on that very first task.
We watched the pie ball and everything lined up, confirmed with where we were at, that we were just sitting in the church parking lot. I think we're about 10 to 12 degrees north of the line we wanted based on those winds. So moved around to the Coles parking lot, which brought us south just about that 10 to 12 degrees and put us right on the line and got balloons in the air.
The next task made things kind of challenging though. So there's a number of hesitation walls. The lower layers really made getting to that pretty challenging.
The low left just kind of died out. I started backing up on the surface, so a big climb to readjust.
The most famous things about Longview, Texas is the left always goes away. In the mornings, there will be a nice left on the surface, and as you go up, it go right. As you get to late morning, by 8, 9 o'clock, that left's gone. And so if you set yourself up that you need to get to left, you're going to miss targets.
And drop down to get back under the 2D, 3D scoring. Dropped the marker, but too late to where I wanted to be. But I think still overall it ended up helping me out to go up, correct, screen back down.
The winds were all clocking clockwise with time. So we knew that as we're going to go through the flight, the south, the left turn was going to dissipate and everything was going to pull more and more to the right. And so my thought was, well, if they've got us on a weather delay already, that's going to set us back a little bit. So things are already going to start to be shifting.
Yeah, all right. I think you probably need to start dropping it. So you got 1,000 feet to get down. We're only a minute and a half out at this slow speed.
It's likely that the northern Heswaltz is going to be our only option of the ones to get to. So we're going to go to that one. And by the time we've gotten to that, things are likely to have shifted even more north and more due west.
The last task of the day was a pilot declared goal, a fly-on actually. So it's fly-on's a task that we get to pick the location of. We can put it anywhere and we can help ourselves or hurt ourselves as much as we want with that.
I had a really nice idea on the fly-on. We had discussed putting the fly-on right around 4,000 to 5,000 feet today based on the big wind change. I had about 4 or 5 laid out before briefing. I had already declared 2 different ones. I put another new one in as I was about to cross the threshold of where I could redeclare. Once I redeclared, all that wind had already kind of dropped out that I was using for the declaration. I put it too low, and in the end, a really bad decision on the fly-on. So what probably could have made my morning with a good fly-on 5 to 10 kilometers out is probably what's going to really hurt me, is just a really bad fly-on with about 500 meters to 600 meters. The rest of the flight, we looked at going back around to drop a baggie on the Heswaltz, but realized that it wasn't worth the loss of points if we dropped a baggie out of order in the task string. So after climbing up 7,000 feet, I came back down to the surface to land. Still took another 30 minutes to land just because there's so many trees out here.
we made the decision to place the fly on task west and just a few degrees north of the Heswaltz location, anticipating that we would actually make it to the Heswaltz, which we did not. We were a couple hundred meters north of that as it was. So then it was the fight was on to gain all the left turn we could to get to the fly on, which ended up working out decent. I took second place finish on the fly on task, which was the only one I did reasonably well on, unfortunately.
I've actually reached out to a few of the other pilots who did well on this day, because most times when I go back and review a flight, it's pretty obvious where you've made a mistake. You're like, okay, I made a mistake here. I should have caught this one there. If I would have held higher at this one instead of sending the, usually you can pretty easily see it. This was a day where, with the wind information that I had, because I stayed fairly low through most of the flight, with the information that I had and the data that I had, I couldn't see where I could have improved. But I think that the big one was I did not utilize those upper layers. I'm really excited to go and sit with some of these other pilots that's so kind that they're willing to sit with me and maybe just walk me through what they were thinking or their thought process on how they approached it better, because the point difference was enormous.
See if they come out and scream at us to get off their property and threaten to shoot at us with their shotguns.
We had a really good game plan going into the morning, and even after that first target, missing it, it would have been fine. Would have been fine to just do everything else and just keep what we had originally planned with the fly on based on the forecasted models and not just using what the winds were showing at that given time. If I trusted the models, I probably could have gotten up and around to the north to where I wanted the fly on to be originally.
Cameron, do you copy? My camera's not working in case you book me.
Yes, he is.
Casey is climbing.
Every day, I start my day with the same drink. You know, us balloonists, every morning we need to make sure we have our brain working properly. We need energy, but not any kind of energy, natural energy. Something that is fresh for our brain, fresh for our body. Something that's going to bring us through the whole flight, all the way to the land run, which will be the sixth task. And for that, there's only one drink that is good. It's that drink. You wonder what that drink is? I know. Problem is, when we contacted them to get financing for our documentary, they didn't even answer us. So you won't know what that drink is.
Yeah.
Do you have what it is to target here?
It should be around a 320.
That might be why everybody's moving.
Yeah, I'm around at like 235.
235?
Yeah.
Are you sure you're pointed the right way?
Well, the kick is, but it's kicking that way. You can't point directly at it, remember? You've got to go parallel to where it took off from.
What? What kind of sorcery are you talking about? Kind of David Bareford.
All right, you're right. If I point directly at it, I'm at 260.
Those are the storms that are coming in on us. We got a bunch of buildup over there. And then the scud layer over there is coming in. That's going to bring in probably low visibility and ceilings. Not really favorable for ballooning, but you know, we're here.
Cool.
Sounds
I'm
sure you got out of your
Sure. Validation was like it?
That's definitely could be the case unless something develops later on this week.
And they're still holding us for tonight, but I don't
You
see
know
it.
we're gonna do this shit every single fucking flight window.
We will, but I'm down for that. I'm just disappointed we missed the one yesterday, honestly. That's the one.
Yeah, I think last night we could have easily gotten a few tasks in, not just one. Few tasks in. And it would have been quality tasks.
It would have been quite a task, I agree, and honestly, it could have been done just by keeping us under CLP. But
Yeah.
no.
Americans are too American to be European. Afternoon flight? No.
Whoa. We have incoming weather with poor visibility and ceilings. And the winds are starting to increase here on the surface. The chances of a flight this morning are slim to none.
Not calling them. Don't do it.
Help me tip these.
Oh, that's good.
Mixed feelings. I think it's not a bad thing that we canceled, both weather-wise and just that, you know, if we don't fly, then it's not the worst thing. It'd be nice to get like 6 flights in because I could actually move up. It's gonna be hard with the weather this week.
My weather forecast for the week is pretty poor, and that's coming from a British person.
Forecast sucks. Can I say that?
Weather forecast for the week, not great. It's looking very spotty. Hopefully that there's going to be some windows, but you know, we have, I guess starting in about 2 hours, we have that whole system coming through, and it's just going to hang over us for however long it wants to.
That's really putting me on the spot. It's changed every single day. At first, I thought we'd have this morning. I thought we'd have last night. I still think we probably could have gotten one task in last night after it all, because it calmed down nicely.
Tu vois, ici, ça peut vite tourner au brouillard, ça peut vite tourner à l'orage s'il y a un peu d'instabilité, parce qu'il y a énormément d'humidité dans le sol, il fait chaud. Donc les prévis, elles changent assez rapidement au final. Donc, bah, faut les prendre créneau par créneau.
I don't know, weather's just been tricky past few days.
Today's weather was definitely difficult. Like I said, there's again these multiple pressure systems coming into the area. I was thinking of a way to explain it to maybe a layman. It's essentially like you have gears all turning in the opposite directions, and now we've got layers of those gears fighting against each other. And this morning we got a no-go, and decided to come out and enjoy the beautiful weather we got from all that.
Let's be honest, we're all here because we love ballooning, so if you come to an event and you don't fly, it kind of sucks. I think from a pilot's perspective, of all the pilots that I know, they'd always rather more because it can help your averages. You know, if you have one bad flight, you can kind of offset it. If you only have 2 flights to do that in, it's very difficult to play around with the averages.
My weather forecast for the week looks unfortunately grim. So we utilize a lot of tools. Right now there's just a lot of moisture overhead. We have a stationary front that's kind of just hanging out. I think there's some tropical storms also. Typically low pressure systems will stop other systems in the continental US from being able to move quickly or move out of the way, so they're kind of holding a few things in. But just in general, we've got a lot of moisture and it's hanging out here, and it doesn't look like it's going to be going away, unfortunately.
You mean people check weather?
So when I'm flying at home, I do the super lazy pull up, wonderground, look at what the week is looking like in general, pick out days that are looking better, and then those days that don't have something scary in the forecast, I'll dig into more. I'll go to aviation weather. I love because they have super in-depth, the prognostic charts, the low charts, high charts, that kind of stuff.
Flight service for years and years.
You can compare different sources, mostly National Weather Service, and different various apps.
So the changes that have happened from then to where we are now are just amazing. You know, now everyone has an iPhone, their cell phone. You have all of these weather apps on your phone.
I think last time I checked, I have like 15 or 20 weather apps installed on my phone. It's kind of ridiculous.
Aux États-Unis, j'ai pas je suis un peu perdu parce que j'ai pas les outils que j'ai en Europe. Donc je suis sur Windy, je suis pas en mode basique, hein, je suis en mode touriste, tu vois. Je suis sur Windy, je suis sur Météo Blue, et voilà, je regarde comme ça.
The PPG report that gives hour to hour with altitude increment weather.
You know, I have like 5 or 6 different apps that I go to, and I think I kind of make my own decision. I look at 3 or 4, or I figure out which ones I agree with the most. But National Weather Service, weather.com, Windy, I kind of tab through a lot of different things and kind of come up with my own opinion.
I'm also using the Windy app. That's another big one.
Like Windy's a good one.
Probably Windy. That's probably one of the first places I go. It has multiple different forecasts that you can look at, so I can compare those different models.
I normally check radar scope, Windy. I like to look at local stations kind of coming from where the storms are to see what they're really doing on the ground, because especially with how everything is now with the National Weather Service, your most reliable source is your eyes and actually what's happening in the field. So it's unfortunate, but that's where we're at right now.
Then I also like the day of, so if I'm happy with what I see in prog charts, then I'll go look at the airport's forecasts. I love looking at a TAF just for like the next couple days, that sort of stuff, just to get a more feel of what's going on in the area.
It usually starts, like I said, a couple days out, and then the night before is really when I'm honing it in. And then morning of, when I wake up, I just check that, kind of validate that all of my forecasting was right, that it is doing what it was forecasted to do.
Watching a lot of radar, which I almost never ever do that regularly because radar tends to be pretty boring in Phoenix. There's never anything on the screen.
My actual full-time job is I'm an aviation meteorologist for a private aviation company in Cleveland, Ohio. So I'm always looking at weather for their flights.
Yeah, actually I really enjoy reading weather and like picking out days for flying and seeing the trends of what's going on.
My name's Ryan Duff. I'm 24 years old. I grew up in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I come as a second generation pilot. My dad was a pilot, and so he taught me to fly. Luckily, over the next couple days, the rain should be more focused in the afternoon. More kind of showery thunderstorms in the afternoon, and that should provide hopefully some windows the next couple mornings so we can fly. You know, tomorrow specifically, we'll still be looking at some ceilings issues. There's just so much moisture because the rain has fallen for the last 2 days that there's so much moisture in the air that we're going to have to watch the ceilings, make sure they're high enough that we can fly. But luckily, there should be calm winds, and hopefully the rain here soon will stop.
This week has been really helpful too because I learned about apps I wasn't even aware of from other balloon pilots, and so that's been really helpful for me and for me to be able to read the weather and support Amanda this week too.
And that's like what I think is what's beautiful about ballooning is you're just constantly learning. Like no matter what, you learn something new every day, and if you don't, well then it's like, what are you doing it for, you know?
I got you. You can go now.
on me.
Yeah, we had, oh gosh, now I have to remember them all. We had 4 tasks, might have to help me out. We had a hesitation wall, we had PDG, we had, what else did we have? Fly on and a JDG. So, let's see.
Starting by the PDG.
PDG was our earliest. We set that pretty close to our launch site as well, so we could just kind of get it out of the way. We knew we could just pop up there and hit it. We didn't pop up there and get it. We ended up 200 over it, so we kind of blew past it a little bit. So we got a pretty good line actually into our JDG bumping up there. Came in, dropped right in over the target. I think we were just a little off on our throws to get in there, but I think I was pretty happy to see how accurately we got in there. A lot of traffic getting in there. Got to see some cool contouring basically over other balloons to kind of skip in line and get over into that target.
Starting to get a breeze up to 20, 20, a little bit of breeze up to 20.
I'm gonna miss everything very wide right over here, facing.
Blake, are you getting any left?
Not up here, Alan. I'm getting a good line to my declaration you're talking about, but there's a left on the deck.
You've been playing games on me. 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 You've been playing
Yes, that was my first experience in a racer in that much. Well, I've flown with a lot of traffic, but that much congestion with common targets. So that was really cool to experience such proximity and speed, vertical and horizontal speed, getting in and out of places, so it was really cool. I was really excited to see how Cameron flew all that.
Frequency mode.
My friend, how was your flight?
That was good. That was better than the first one.
Yeah.
Tricky though. I didn't do well on one target, but that's okay. I love this training. It's really nice. I love when it's fast.
Yeah.
This is when you learn.
How was your flight?
It was good. It's hard to see how everybody else did, but I know I was good on one and not good on another, and probably average on two. We'll see.
What about the other two?
Average.
Average is not bad. You still take an average home from the bar, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, you know. On this event, I'm wondering how I ended up being a world champion. Like, sometimes you have some miracle. Well, it's a lot of observation, you know. You need to observe what the other balloons are doing. But this morning it was tricky. You got a layer of left, like 300 feet above the ground, and on the ground some right again. Yeah. But it was a beautiful morning watching the others. I took some photos. Vous êtes sur la fréquence, les jeunes, ou pas?
And then just make sure that the balloon doesn't swing back.
Cool. But you know, when we came into the Pez Waltz, yeah, everyone was reading 010 to 020.
Yeah.
I think we were in the 300s
Yeah.
going left.
That's crazy.
Like, this is wild. Yeah, even the balloon like coming in before us was like hooking even worse than us.
I grab my stuff here and we'll change vehicles.
So you're living in where now?
Tanzania.
Wow.
How old are these little guys? Cuties. All right, enjoy your morning.
Okay, I'm Jet. I got into ballooning in 2021, and I was 25 at the time. I'm 28 now. And I got my private license in 2022, my commercial license in 2023, and have been flying as much as I can since, going to different events and meeting all kinds of awesome people along the way. I'm flying in South Carolina. I started flying in Oregon, and then I've bounced around since. I got into competition flying last year. I signed up to do the ring drop event at Fiesta and ended up not doing that. Went to Statesville right after Fiesta and flew a competition with a friend there, and it was super fun. And then I thought, well, why not try more? I'm here this weekend this week because Cameron and Amanda invited me out. I was originally coming out to fly in the Young Guns competition, but wasn't feeling super confident about my flying skills. This would be my first competition as a PIC, so I came out instead to learn about the competition flying and then also to see friends.
So the Young Gun competition is anybody under the age of 30 can fly in the competition. I'm 27, so I got a couple years left, and so I figured start off small and then work your way up. Introduce yourself, get your name out there, kind of. So it's gonna be real fun. My name is Jerry Palmer. I'm 27 years old, and I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Been a pilot since November of last year, and kind of really excited. I only have 105 hours, so it's really exciting to be out here and compete with these guys.
I'm a very green pilot still, so still a lot to learn. Just a lot more experience I would like to get before I would say I'm like super confident as a pilot.
My fiance is my crew chief. She supported me all throughout this entire sport, throughout me getting my license and everything.
Well, my name is Misa Villa. I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I've been chasing hot air balloons for about 8 years.
And then I got my buddy JD out here, who's also been a local balloonist kid since he was a kid. And then my other buddy Luke, same thing. He's been ballooning for many years. Close friends that love to wake up early in the morning. That's a big part right there.
I want to be a pilot, so my whole goal with all of this was first to become a repairman. So that's kind of what's cool about us is we're both repairmen. So I got my repairman certificate first back in January, and I wanted to do that first because I wanted to know everything I absolutely possibly could about a system. You know, I wanted to know everything about the basket, everything about the birders, everything about the envelope, and I feel like the only way to really do that is to become a hot air balloon repairman. I really wanted to gain that knowledge first and then learn how to fly, you know, and do all that. So hopefully I'll start my training in the wintertime after everything's like done and crazy and Fiesta's over because, you know, that's our balloonist Super Bowl.
Yeah, so I actually am a certified repairman. I have my repairman certificate. So after I'm done crewing or flying, I come in and I fix balloons, burners, baskets, stuff like that. Especially out here, my boss is out here too, so he brought his sewing machine. So if I need to repair my balloon throughout the week, I can do that.
Cheri and Misa came to me when they helped out a friend of theirs, Zach, rewicker his basket after a hard landing, and they are just tremendous people. They jump in where needed and get the job done.
My boss, he's been doing repairing for I think about 10 years now. Has a shop back in Albuquerque. That's where I'm certified through. I've been doing it for the past 2 years. He's been doing it, like I said, for the past 10. He really enjoys it. It's like a retirement job, so he says.
Yeah, Dave, he's great. He's a crazy cowboy, you know him. But he's great. I really appreciate him and the opportunity that he's given us with being able to work at Airco and being able to learn everything, you know.
Well, I'm David Eichhorn. I spent 35 years in the U.S. Air Force, and I've been a balloonist since 1996. If you want to know what I did, I mean, I joined the Air Force in 1977, went to Vance Air Force Base, got my my wings from the Air Force, and was assigned to B-52s. And then I got picked up for test pilot school and went out to Edwards Air Force Base. In total, I spent 10 years out at Edwards. The last assignment was as commander of the base. I mean, I've got over 6,000 hours flying jets, 47 different types of aircraft for the U.S. Air Force. My favorite plane just to fly for fun is the T-38, kick the tires, light the fires, and go. If I had to go to war in a bomber, I love the B-1. I think it's an awesome airplane. I was a test pilot on that for 3 years. And then the F-15 Strike Eagle. If I had went to war in a fighter, I love the Strike Eagle. It feels like a Mercedes-Benz of aircraft. Very, very solid. Well, I will tell you, as a test pilot in the U.S. Air Force, I was a precision flyer. I mean, you had to nail the altitude within 100 feet, you know, over a very long periods of time. And I mean, I was a precision flyer to sum it up. But I try to do the same thing in ballooning, and it's a lot more difficult because you can't just trim it up like you can in an aircraft and get the controls hands-free, and it'll pretty much stay put for a while. In the balloon, it's cooling off the whole time. You've got to be paying attention. And oh, by the way, the isotrope or whatever, the wind you're in will vary with the terrain you're flying over. So you can't just ride along. So what I find is the situation awareness, watching the other balloons, watching smoke, watching the flags. In a lot of our cases, it's watching the spit over the side to see what the wind's doing below you. You've got to pay attention to that the whole time, especially during a competition when you're trying to get to a particular point on the ground. So I know a helicopter pilot who's given up ballooning because it's just not precise enough for him. You know, when he pointed the helicopter where he wanted to go, it went there. With the balloon, he points it the way he wants to go and it goes somewhere else.
Unfortunately, that's just the sport. It really is. That's just ballooning. That was something that was really hard for me. I feel like when I first started doing this.
It's just, it's a whole different world when you're flying. You know, you're just this little ball of gas and you're subject to the atmosphere and whatever the changes that are happening in the atmosphere, that's what you're dealing with.
But I will tell you, when I first got into flying a balloon and doing some competitions with the club, it was frustrating because I'd be lined up perfectly with the target and then I wasn't. All right, because the wind changed. And a lot of it's like flying in a valley or with light and variable winds, things change. And so I went to a friend of mine, who I didn't know that well at the time, Mark Sullivan.
As Mark and I have flown, let's see, since 2002, I don't even know how many flights I've made. We've gotten more conservative.
And I asked him, I said, Mark, how do you stand this? You get everything lined up, you're doing things right, and then it's wrong. And he says, Dave, you got to remember, it's just a game. It's just a game.
We didn't have cell phones back then. We didn't have any kind of communication. We didn't have GPSs. We didn't have internet. We didn't have all these weather apps. We didn't have, we had TV that we'd watch at night, the nightly news, to get the weather forecast for the next morning. We didn't have a way to check at the airports what the winds were doing. And even back in the early 70s, maybe a couple of years before my dad started, they didn't know about thermals. They would go out at, let's all meet at 11 o'clock over at that field here. And they'd put balloons up. And Terry Cooper, they just take off in the middle of the day in thermals. He broke his leg like 2 or 3 times just because nobody knew about thermals. And then we're like, something's going on. And we finally figured out mornings and evenings were the best. I can remember some of the balloon pilots landing in trees, and it was like the Wild West back in the 70s and the 80s. And it's just, now it's so much easier with the phone, and like we're sitting here in Longview, Texas at the U.S. Nationals, and I've been, every hour I'm checking my phone to see radar, where's the thunderstorm, which way is it moving, how fast is it moving, what are the winds doing, what's it going to be doing at 5, what's it forecasted to do every single day. And we just didn't have that in the old days.
Once we get to the briefing, we do some pie balls. We send some helium balloons up, test the winds, get another general direction, and go from there.
Yeah, it was laid out good. We had 6 tasks, which is a good amount. And I'm a little low in the standings right now, so I needed a bunch of tasks. We read the winds, and immediately we decided this is the spot to go.
We took off at that church south of town, and it was the perfect launch spot.
No, we had a good launch site today.
It was pretty much a 0 degree on the surface and about 40 degrees up high. So plenty of steerage to be able to get your left on the surface, move right up high.
I fly with the Heartsill, so we're all sharing a radio channel. My name's Joby Skinner. I'm from San Angelo, Texas.
Because of the way the task was called and the speed of the winds, it was pretty clear when we left briefing that if the wind line held, that we were going to run out of competition area before we were going to run out of space.
There's something to be said to not dawdle, to basically get airborne while you know the winds and before they change.
All right, repeat, 3604 with coordinates 3678 by 0424. That ends at 8:30. The entire contest area will be scored. Scoring method is 2D, 3D.
Yeah, it's moving.
Zero. Hard right.
Yeah.
We need a hard right.
I don't know about the
Remember the last time we went out of here last year, we had to jump up real fast to get over there. Right?
Yeah,
In
and
inversion, right?
it's still at about.
I think you want a little more because here was straight north and you want a 010 maybe.
Okay,
Perfectly.
there's a pretty big green zone, but then we run out of room.
That is actually.
We're doing 60 kilometers an hour.
I think it's on the left.
No, there's no left, like at all. There's no left.
And there might be more later,
Like,
but
maybe, like,
so
the
far that the left tend to fade absolutely every day since we've been here. We've been more pushing to the right more and more, so I kind of not sure I want to trust that.
So it should develop a little more right as we go.
That's the plan, right? We're
I
going
have
for
us
it.
a little bit more right of the 1500 line.
Yeah. We walked out of there and made
Might be a ultimate right.
Too right.
Yeah.
Too far right.
Too right. So
Mine's in. Too
stop.
far right.
Okay, edge of the houses and the trees here. Yeah, exactly. That's a good one.
If you are taking 40 miles per hour, you're gonna outrun the map. In a perfect world, we do our high leg first, come out here, and then run it that way. But I don't see that being an option.
The field, we've flown this field several times where the target is. It's a little tricky on the surface. It tends to go multiple directions.
I just dropped off blue and green and white. Richard is really well.
Patrick! By the way, Patrick! Shit! Motherfucker! What the fuck is this?
What the hell?
What the fuck is this?
So I chose to take the higher winds into it and kind of dive down quickly. and that worked out good for us today. I think I got maybe first place on it.
The flying, the first target was pretty bad, but we knew that was the one to kind of miss if we were going to miss one.
So the biggest part of it today was timing. The earlier, the better. I mean, when that left went away, it was completely gone. So I think if I would have done it differently, I would have been in the air a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I'm actually with that because, today, getting to the first target, all the national guys, a lot of them got to that first target, and everybody else that took off after, we were all kind of screwed. Everything just died out, and we couldn't even get to the targets.
Yesterday was tricky because you had to continually move that at least I felt like you had to continually move that PDG to the east.
So I tried, when I went to my launch, I was hoping to stay as far to the west as possible, and the top of the arc of our distance and penalty or distance limitations, I was trying to tuck the corner of the land run down in the very, very corner of that, but the left went away.
Our left push was coming and going, and you really had to ride a very fine line in order to keep that left coming, and then you'd climb up, take some right or east to make it back into your targets and drop in on the targets and try to score.
One of the most famous things about Longview Texas is the left always goes away.
But once you were in the air, it was just managing the speed and making sure you got the fly on before you were moving pretty quick, so making sure you were on top of getting the fly on declared, and then also making sure you had the line for the Gordon Bennett.
The surface was pretty calm, but when you got to 1,000 feet in that right wind, it went from at the surface about 5 to 10 miles an hour to 30 miles an hour up there.
With Texas, the heat, the humidity going on here, you get later into the morning, and you just know after 8 o'clock it's going to just turn into I won't say it.
Can't fight Mother Nature, so unfortunately, I was having a great morning. I was hitting all my targets, so I wish we could have kept flying and got more scores.
The fifth task was a fly-on task, kind of like the pilot declared goal. We chose where it was, but it had to be in the sky, so it was about 1,000 feet in the sky.
Oh, I like the fly-ons, a fly-on or a pilot declared goal. Feel like that really test your skill, picking a random spot in the sky. You don't have, especially at altitude, when you're flying to a target on the ground, you have a point to fly to. You kind of know if you're going left or if you're going right. I like the skill that it takes to go chase one of those, or any 3D task. I like tasking there. It's fun throwing baggies, but right now I love the challenge of me trying to get to those in the sky for sure.
And so my fly-on task, as my flight progressed, I started out about 11 o'clock, 12, 1, 2, and I ended up, the one I ended up putting in my GPS or putting in my logger was like a 55-degree bearing to my target. So I started from left of north and brought it all the way around in the course of about 10 minutes.
Once we scored on that one, our land run started, which you kind of create a triangle or a right angle. So you have a point A, B, C, and you want the biggest area in that triangle possible.
At this kind of level of competition in US, you do start to see some 3D tasks. It is typically more throwing markers and kind of navigating to logger points. Whereas in UK and European, you do get a lot more of the 3D tasks and the tasks that, throw up tens of questions in a briefing in the morning.
Our strategy on that was to stay on the surface. It was a 30-minute task, but the upper winds were going about 3 times the speed of the lower winds. So we were going to roughly stay in that surface one for 18 to 20 minutes and then pop up and get the fast wind to change direction to hopefully create the biggest area.
I feel like we've kind of survived a couple different generations of competition. When we started, we had observers and we were pacing through cornfields and throwing markers at intersections, and then we went to these things called GPSs came along, but then now we're all the way up to the balloon live sensors and apps, and so we've kind of had a lot of technology in the last 20 years. So it's been kind of a fun journey.
Morning, it's the final day in Longview.
was it? Thanks. You're free. I hope that's on footage.
Oh. Coming down, coming down. On the back side, that's okay. We're gonna let her lay out backwards.
Slick, are you gonna land? No. Thank you, though. Hi there.
All these spots.
If we had jumped up when other people were jumping up.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have had it. I just didn't think it was up there.
I didn't either. I saw them going fucking left.
I was like, I'm not seeing it at all there.
Dry land! Holy shit.
We see the property that you're over.
Hard hit.
We just get back there. Everything has speed now.
It's better than me. Let's just let her. Would you spin it and just let her tip? Yep. You might like dig it here for.
It's a little muddy and swampy there.
I know. It's a landing spot though.
Yeah.
It's not trees.
You want to give me the line?
It's already loose.
Oh,
Let it do it.
let's do it today.
You good? Yep. Just went to plant my hand and it slipped. Yeehaw.
Spencer, I have a question. What the fuck was that?
We're backwards. We'll let you know.
But that was fun. I'm behind a locked gate. Landed here with Spencer Kopis. He went off to see his stuff. Nick is still flying. The sun is out. It's 9 a.m. So great. Back up. Also, I think there's a rattlesnake in the woods right behind me.
So long week here in Longview, and as you guys have probably followed and listened to us, many of us talked about the weather. The weather's been very difficult for us pilots and crew.
Well, you know, ballooning. Oh, I don't even know what to say about it. I mean, it's been just an absolutely ridiculous week. I mean, just weather is crazy. I mean, everything about it. I mean, tasks being canceled mid-flight again today. Now we're on hold for final results, and we have no idea. Who knows? Like, I don't know. Tasks are being canceled. Tasks are being added. And we got in another flight.
Yeah, glad that we got some flights, some fascinating mornings and some interesting task settings. But I think as a crew, we worked well together. Maybe not the kind of full result that we wanted, but I think we've done really well as a team, and we've had fun, and that's the main thing.
Very exciting, despite maybe not the best results we would have hoped for Cameron and Amanda. We learned so much, and we had so much fun together, and I just can't wait to do it again.
You gotta stay positive when shit goes pear-shaped, and everything went pear-shaped this week. And I mean, it just, you gotta roll with it and understand that it's the nature of the sport. It's like any sport, I mean, you're gonna have your ups, you're gonna have your downs. I mean, you can be on a winning streak and then you lose for a long time, and you can
get crashed in the corner in a race. Like it's any sport, you know, you're going to have your ups and downs, and you know, even the best pilots in the world can't always finish first. I mean, as evident this week, you know, we have the reigning world champion here finishing mid-pack. I think he's currently scored right next to me. So, you know, at least if I didn't do good, he didn't do good either.
Yeah, there's hope for the young guys because our rookie of the year just finished second place, well ahead of me, and I've been coming to the nationals for 30 years now. So it's just a lot of fun, and come out and start doing it. Get on somebody's crew that knows how to do it, and you'll learn twice as fast, and just go for it. I mean, why not? It's just too much fun throwing baggies at markers at targets and trying to figure out why somebody else got closer to the goal than you. So it's just it's challenging from a piloting standpoint, from a mental standpoint. I think it's good for everybody to try to make the balloon go where you want it to go.
My name is Olive Thompson. I'm 26. I live in Albuquerque now, but I grew up in Missouri, and I got into ballooning because I approached a random strange man with a white van at a gas station one time.
So my name is Nadège Durand, and I'm 37 years old. I'm from the French Alps, southeast of France, and I ended up in the ballooning world because my parents' neighbors are air traffic controllers, and told me, oh, when I was young, I traveled all over France as an observer, which were the old juries for the hot air balloons.
I was feeling real creepy one night, and I was at a gas station and saw this white van. I lived in Albuquerque on and off for a few years, so I kind of knew what was on the back of the van, and I ran right up to him and was like, oh my God, is that a hot air balloon? And I think I scared him, but he was like nice enough to say, yes, it is, and I'll be at Fiesta in a few weeks, and he didn't have any crew, so he gave me his balloon card, and like 2 weeks later, I was meeting him in the parking lot of the Sandia Star Casino, where I got into the back of the white van, which is Minion themed, and there was no other crew. So I texted my parents my location like it mattered, and went to Fiesta and experienced my first interaction with anything hot air balloon related.
And after a couple of years of crewing for a first pilot, I got recruited by Clement Seigeot, who was the first French pilot at the time, and is now the world champion. And for the past 8 years, we've been doing podium after podium, and we've now traveled to, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 different countries. And now we're in Texas for the American Nationals. It's pretty fun.
I love ballooning. I love that it combines like mental challenge with physical challenge, and it's just like fun and whimsical, to be honest. But I think it was more the community that I found, because when I moved to Albuquerque, I didn't know anyone here. So I only had, people say like balloon family, but it was the people that kept me coming back. And I was totally happy to be crew for the rest of my life. And then it was really like Jeff and a couple other mentors that were like, you could have a shot at being a good pilot. So it was, having someone believe in me like that was really cool.
I would say to anyone that wants to get into ballooning but doesn't want to necessarily be a pilot, just do it. Just go out there. If you see a balloon land, go and chase it, and go and say hi to the pilot, and just chat to people. It is the most friendly community out there. I think that's the great thing about ballooning, is you are such like-minded people that you kind of come into this. You can get thrown together. The Becky and Canna, who I was crewing with, amazing people. I love them to bits. Super supportive people, really, really intelligent, fantastic. And, I met them all of like a week ago, and now they're people that I could probably call up and be like, hey, do you need crew at any point? And, there's mutual respect. And again, that's kind of what I love about ballooning.
Cameron and Amanda bring something really special to competition, and I don't think I've seen either of them like really frustrated or upset or anything all week long. And they bring like an intensity and like expertise without a lot of the negative stuff that competition can bring out. So that was really positive to see. And I think I met a lot of really cool people this week.
Going to a balloon event with them is like, going to your best friend's house and having a sleepover with all your friends together. It's like you are just having a blast the whole time.
Come on. Well, hey, team finishing 31st, right? Hey, to the 31st.
My name's Chris Casaselli. I'm 29 years old, and I have been enamored with hot air balloons since I was a little kid. There's a local event in my hometown, the Great Reno Balloon Race. I've been going since, I think, before I was 1 year old. My mom carried me in, in a snuggly or whatever. And I've gone every single year since then. I fell in love with it at an early age and have never lost the ambition to be a pilot. And I was able to finally become a pilot just a few years ago. And I'm living the dream now.
Originally, we had no real intent to get into competitive ballooning. We came to Great Texas Balloon Race in 2018, and that was sort of our first like big competition. And we're like, oh yeah, like we felt like we kind of knew what was going on, and we just got our butts handed to us. And on the way back home, it's the whole conversation between my wife Karen and I were like, all right, what do we got to do? How do we get to this next level? What's got to change? And so we started looking at buying a racer pretty much immediately, and that, you know, now we're here.
I'm a good friend of Cam Walls. I crewed for him at the Junior World Championships in Poland in 2023. And after that, I fell in love with competition ballooning. And I wasn't able to crew for him at Nationals last year, but this year, the fact that there was a documentary happening and he was competing for, you know, a top position to try to go to Worlds in the following year made it a really exciting opportunity to come, and I just couldn't say no. So
I would love to be at Worlds next year. I think the World Championships are always a really interesting competition. I've been very lucky to go to 2. It's just a completely different caliber. You get really interesting task settings. And again, it's not just interesting for the pilots who are having to fly it, but for the crews and how they can best support the pilots in what they do as well.
as an experienced filmmaker, I think I hope that I brought you know, an artistic sensibility to the project that is going to help create something, you know, very artful and that represents ballooning in a very artful and beautiful way.
Hopefully, you know, gets more interest just at a not even at like a national level, where now more sort of brands and things like that are interested, and they want to jump in on those local events, some more national events, and just to bring more interest in general into ballooning.
Yeah, you know, I'm kind of a firm believer that you have to give back to the sport. And so the way you do that is you direct, you get on the BFA board, you do things to try to support the sport.
So with the Baggies Out project, we're really trying to get competitive ballooning like more well known. It's kind of niche right now. You know, you say I do competitive ballooning, and you'll get a blank stare from most people. They don't even know that you can do competition in balloons.
It was really cool to see something. I never knew how much went into it. You kind of just, there's this opinion that you just get up and you float around and you have like a fun, cool time. But especially in the competition side, when you start looking at what people have on their iPads, it's like a whole freaking control center up there. And getting to see that and seeing how technical it is, I think more people should be aware of that side of racing, because it just shows that like these people are really intelligent and able to like see things that I still don't know how they see.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm happy with the results of this year by any means. So, talking about goals for next year, it's really just cleaning up the mistakes. I'm not thrilled with how I flew, the decisions I made, or how the week went. But I think it was a really promising week in terms of the team that we brought together. You know, really coming up with this great team and building this team only for it to be the last event of the season. I say goodbye to everyone and hope and pray that they had a good enough time, they want to come back and do it again without being able to see them until then. So yeah, it is a shame that, you know, you have this great week of camaraderie, everyone's in the house together, you build and build and build, only for it to have, you know, an awful result, and just for everyone to scatter back across the country, and for Emma across the pond again, and even for me next week going back to work. work in Tanzania, where I don't have a chance to even run across them. And then I do have faith that, you know, we built such a good team this year, and everyone was happy enough being here and enjoyed the bad weather, the good weather, the flying, the not flying, the food, that we built the right environment for people to say, yes, I will take off a week, 2 weeks of work to go and support you in your dream. And that means a lot to me.